15-4, a brilliant campaign. Look, he's been a top 3 finisher previously. He's never won the award. I think it's a lock for him this year. Kevin Gausman, not to be overlooked, with a great year himself. More strikeouts per 9 and led the league in strikeouts, as a matter of fact. And Sonny Gray was great in a free agent year as well. Cole's the guy. Am I missing anything?
No. This is going to be the culmination of the one prize he really hasn't gotten yet. You're right. Top 5 in the Cy Young 5 times. And when this is all said and done, and his career's got a lot to it, he'll be the greatest 1-1 pitcher ever drafted in the history of the game.
Wow. Wow. I mean, look, for 1-1s to win the Cy Young Award, that doesn't happen very often. Yeah.
For every Garrett Cole, who was drafted in 2011, there's Mark Appel, who was drafted a couple of years later, that things did not work out. He just is everything. For people who used to pitch, he's everything that you aspired to be when you pitched. You wanted to be that guy who was the number one, took the ball every 32 times, 33 times, pitched over 200 innings. There's no doubt in my mind, if he were pitching in 1970, he'd be pitching 300 innings and 10 shutouts and 20 complete games.
Yeah. He'd be Catfish Hunter, right? So let me ask you this, because this is intriguing. Because when you pitched, I've had opportunities to visit with Garrett Cole and ask him questions. He has this incredible recall for at-bats and pitch selection, games and situations that were 2, 3, 4 years old. And he can tell you in great detail about how he held his slider on an at-bat to Chris Davis in Houston that didn't go his way. Or the detail's amazing, the recall. Is that a common thing?
That is more common than you think. I can walk you through an entire game from 1984 that I pitched against Pittsburgh on a Monday night, and you can show the game and I can tell you every single pitch, how I held it, what I was thinking for the pitch 2 pitches later. I mean, that's just how pitchers are wired. You know how you can remember everything about your kids?
Yeah.
Like everything about your kids.
Yeah.
That's how important it is.
Oh, well, we need to have that exercise.
Yeah.
We need to pull a random start of yours, and
great.
We'll go through it right here. We'll stop and start, and that'd be fascinating.
It'd be fun. And discuss the hitter and what you're thinking about. And this is before they had all the information. The information really had to be in your own noodle, and you had to figure it out.
That's a good point. Let's talk about the National League candidates for Cy Young as well. Show at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight. In the National League, look, there was a time leading into the end of the year when a guy who's not even on this board was among the big, heavy favorites. And we're talking about Spencer Strider, who ended up leading the league in strikeouts and set a record for Ks per 9. But he is not. He is not even a top 3 finalist because of some wonky starts down the stretch. Zach Gallen, Blake Snell, Logan Webb. What are your thoughts?
And I'll throw one more name in there for you. In the beginning of September, Justin Steele, the Chicago Cubs, was there as well. But what happened is that Gallen had an unbelievable first half, faltered a little bit in the second half. Logan Webb, you can make the argument, was great all season long. Forget about the 1-loss record. But Blake Snell, at some point after the All-Star game, just stopped giving up runs. So juxtaposed to the other pitchers who had a couple ups and downs, he did not.
Some detractors of Snell's, and I am not among them, will point to the walk numbers. I don't think voters care about that. I just don't. And I don't think there's enough of a close field for him not to win it tonight.
In a really weird way, he made it more difficult to prevent runs than any of the other pitchers because of all those walks. When you look at the great pitchers in the game, or the guys that are having the best years, it all comes down to one thing. How do they pitch with runners on base, runners in scoring position? Because every pitcher, at some point over the course of your 32 starts, is going to have traffic. The guys who win this award are the ones that do not give up hits when people are on base.
With some of the uncertainty now around the Padres, with Peter Seidler's passing yesterday, there's a lot of questions as to whether or not he'll be back in San Diego. He is famously a free agent, as is Cole, as is Gray. I mean, we're talking about 6 of the best pitchers in the world now, and 3 of them could be had for the highest bidder.